much. Thank you.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, October the 14th. If you'd like to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before everybody sits down, we did this the last council meeting, so it's really kind of, I don't really want to do it again, but we lost Kevin 2 weeks ago. We had at the meeting, and Donna Neester was another community leader that we lost in the last week, and I'd like to have a moment of silence, if I could, for her, please. Thank you. If we could have the roll, please.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Huron.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here. You have the minutes from the regular meeting of September the 23rd. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So move. Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any changes to the minutes? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted. We do have two presentations tonight, so if the clerk would please read the first one.
Presentation from the Port Huron Beautification Commission.
Good evening. We haven't been here for a couple of years.
I know.
It's nice to see you all. We have the Steve Revnick Award that we'd like to give out tonight. It's given to a member of the community that has gone beyond what most of us do in our yards, making the place prettier, but they make somewhere in the city much nicer. And tonight we'd like to present it to Carolyn McNeil. Carolyn McNeil, come down. She served more than 25 years on our Board of Beautification Commission. She took care of Lincoln Park all those years for us, so if you've gone over there in the last 20 years or so, you know how pretty it was. However, this summer she decided that she just could no longer take care of all that. She had other things that she needed to do, take care of. But she's also been on the committee longer than that. She's been, well, more than 25 years. And in those 25 years, she's been the chair of the committee. She has been a mentor to people. She's done all the flower ordering when she was up in the system. So she's really been a benefit to everybody, so we think it was only fair and necessary to recognize her for everything that she did. Carolyn?
Did you want to say a few words? No? No?
I love the city, and I just want to keep it beautiful. And we have such a beautiful river here.
Yeah.
And so we should each take our responsibility to keep everything around us beautiful.
Amen.
Well, thank you for the job you've done. And presentation number 2.
Presentation on the Discovery City Children's Museum.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Schweinhofer, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the person chosen, lucky enough, to be the director of our new Children's Museum. If you look behind you, I'll let the slideshow play, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about us while we're watching. This is a quick tour from the front door all the way around. I think last time someone was standing in front of you, we were begging you for money to make this dream become a reality. And as you can see, 8,000 square feet, a whole labor of love, and a lot of teamwork is making this dream come true. So we are thrilled. Tomorrow is our first day. We have our grand opening starting at noon tomorrow. and a ribbon cutting by our very own mayor, which we appreciate. If anyone is interested, 3 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be doing our ribbon cutting. Right now, we are anticipating a full house every single day. We're going to be open Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Mondays. Our hours range from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. We have sponsors for a lot of our exhibits already. Our very own dear and precious friend Donna Easter has been such a wonderful supporter and benefactor of our museum and all of the plans that we've had. A big area is dedicated to her, and Eastern Michigan Bank has been a wonderful asset as well. They have made a generous donation. We're going to be manufacturing from scratch a bank made to specifications. It'll be a mini Eastern Michigan Bank, complete with a vault and ATM machine, so we're excited about that. And Semco is a new and recent supporter. Our koi pond right there was built from the ground up by St. Clair Landscaping within a week. We went from cement floors all the way to fish swimming in our pond. Our campground area, and we even have a room in the back dedicated to the Knowlton family. This is going to be our party room, we're going to call it. None of this, of course, would be even a little bit possible without our city and county ARPA funds, without all of our generous donors and supporters, and obviously the Community Foundation and the Knowlton family. So we hope that you join us and spread the word and tell everyone about it, because we're excited to have everyone starting tomorrow.
It's fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
So fabulous.
Yes.
Even better in person, I promise.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will move on to public comment. If there's anyone who wishes to address the city council, please come forward, give us your name and where you're from, and you have 4 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Attorney Stephen Heisler. I'm running for probate judge in St. Clair County, and I wanted to introduce myself to you folks as well as everybody in the community. I've been practicing in the areas of family law, children's law, and adoptions for the last 20 years. My opponent is a very talented former prosecutor, and in the last 20 years, she's had 189 days experience in the area of family law, because that's when she actually was appointed by Governor Whitmer. She is a fabulous person, and I won't say anything negative about my opponent, other than there are distinctions between the two of us, and our experiences are different. My experiences are in the area that this seat is for probate. And again, family law, children's law, and adoptions. I encourage you to do some research on both candidates. If you want, you can actually visit www.stephen4judge, all spelled out, Stephen with a V.com, and you'll be able to actually see the comparison as it relates to what this seat does, as well as my qualifications and my opponent's qualifications. And I thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Randall Redlowsk. I'm up here to talk about the fluoridation in the water, poisonous chemicals, the rat poison, the cockroach poison that we put in our water. In case you all haven't listened to like the Real News, InfoWars, Alex Jones show, all of this has been exposed decades ago. Okay, this is nothing new coming out, but it's still coming out. We're still pressing forward. There's lawsuits coming out around, and I don't know why the corporate government or the city, the actual real government, feels like they're immune from any type of like criminal or civil repercussions of them poisoning us for years, destroying people. It's truth that the fluoride doesn't protect your teeth. The chemical that they're putting in our water, it's not even calcium fluoride, which may have some benefit. It's sodium fluoride and all these other toxic waste chemicals from industrial farming, like aluminum mining, agricultural farming. It seeps into your bones. It causes bone cancers. It just completely destroys your teeth and your bones with fluorosis. There was a study that just came out from Harvard about how it makes you dumb, and how they're purposely trying to do this and put it in our water to make us weak. And people all over are waking up. People know about it. So I don't know why, like, everybody on the government thinks they're insulated from, you know, criminal prosecutions, civil prosecutions. I mean, our whole city basically should be sued, and everybody that is a shareholder in the city of Port Huron government should completely tank all their wealth, and it should be transferred back over to the actual residents that have been assaulted. I don't like being assaulted. And it's also coming out that we can control, we here can stop the fluoride, stop them from putting in it. And then our next level is all these planes dumping out all these chemicals on us, surfactants, polymers, aluminum, barium, strontium, controlling our weather, forcing hurricanes, steering hurricanes, intensifying hurricanes. All that's coming out. People hear it. All the lies that the corporate technocratic government, all these unelected officials, these people that have stolen pretty much the world's wealth and just want to get rid of us like cockroaches. So I don't know how anybody here is not fighting it, because they're going to kill you. We won't be here very much longer if they keep doing this. The stuff that they're dumping down from us in the plains is killing all our plant life. It's showing up in the plant life. It's killing our plant life. And on top of that, everything that they say that they're doing, like, doesn't make any sense. They're spraying. They say they're not spraying, but then they are spraying. But they're claiming that they're solar dimming. And they've been blocking 20% of the sun. And you do that, that is going to stop the plants from synthesizing carbon. So it absolutely makes no sense. There's no logic about it. They can't keep lying about it. It's not going to keep going.
Your 4 minutes are up.
I would suggest people
Your 4 minutes are up, sir.
Would want to live.
So part of my job, I feel as a journalist, is to
Could you give me your name for the record?
My name is Tyler Megank. I live in Port Huron Township. Part of my job, I feel as a journalist, is to fact check. And so what this gentleman just said, there's a lot of factual issues with it. One is, I believe the city of Port Huron already tests its water. And so, I mean, if it was dangerous, I feel like we would already know that. And also, what he misunderstands is that it's not the presence of fluoride that's dangerous, it's that there's too much in the water. Some fluoride in the water actually is good for your teeth. So, he also says that he gets information from InfoWars. Well, that's an unreliable source. This is the same person who, to my understanding, said there was a false flag school shooting in Sandy Hook or something. So I don't know if we should necessarily consider that a reliable source. So I feel sorry for the person who's misinformed. Maybe he really believes it, but there's just no truth to what he's saying. And then just to inform about my publication, I recently did an interview with Miss Jamie Green. She's the state representative for the 65th district. You can find that on my site for those that are interested. It's the stclaircountyvoice.com. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Sir, you saved a lot of my breath. Colder Goth here, 11th Ave. And I want to thank him for addressing that, because this is the third council meeting in a row he's been here, and at some point it's gotten very raucous. And it's just odd to me, because if I come and I might say a fact, I've been debunked by Mr. James Freed within minutes. But all of you sat here and watched that happen for 3 council meetings. None of you said anything. I'm not sure, I don't have access to your emails, but did he reach out to you? Did you provide him with resources? anything to help fight that. This gets live streamed. This is on cable. People see this in our city and get misinformation from right here. And none of you stopped it. And that's disappointing. And I wanted to add that Harvard study, it was actually a meta-analysis. I looked into it. And a lot of it pulled from China, actually, where they were drinking, in some cases, 36 to 96 times the amount of fluoride we are, just to dispel a little bit of that. And even if it's dangerous, a lot of good things are dangerous in large quantities. And I have looked into Port Huron's water reports, which, again, we could have mentioned this. We are within the EPA standard and within the WHO standard, and even a lot of times the stricter Canadian standards of fluoridization here in the city. And even in 2022, when it did get above the 2 threshold, I don't know, a memo went out saying it's above the 2 threshold right now. Just look out for that. It could be harmful for citizens under 9, but you guys were on top of that. I also just wanted to also commend you guys for the partnership with United Way. The Tri-Share program is great and makes the city of Port Huron a competitive employer. So I can appreciate you doing that. And I even sent that to my HR team at work as a possible program they could look into. So thank you for publicizing that a little bit. And I also just kind of wanted to address sort of what I'm seeing with the signage code here. As Cindy might know, with the political signs and special signs. We were all informed as candidates in July of the rules. Minimum size, maximum size requirements, can't be in the right of way, must be removed within 7 days of a special event or election. And so why is it that we need a reminder again in October? We all received these rules. These rules have been in the code for a long time. And Mayor Rep, I mean, you've ran quite a few times. You've been the city clerk. You know the rules too. And I know you're not going out there placing every single sign. It's part of your committee that does that. Maybe a little bit of overlap with Archibald's because you guys seem to be right next to each other a lot of the times. But just communicating that with your team or the people that are electing to represent you in their yards goes a long way to showing that you're knowledgeable about the rules yourselves. And I wanted to kind of posit as to why it got to this point. And perhaps it's because there's a lot of code in our city. It's hard to enforce every single code. So maybe we could make steps to maybe not enforce, let's go back. Let's say enforce the state's rules for sure, not allowing signage on state roads because that's important for driver safety. And it's just not a great look for us to ignore code while paying for a code enforcement team. So rules should be enforced if they exist or trimmed up to make the code more manageable if we can't make the time to enforce these. If that makes sense. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? Please come forward, give us your name, where you live, and you have 4 minutes. Seeing no one, public comment is now closed. We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt?
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, and seconded by Councilmember Mosherak. Do you want to take the vote, please?
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Items on the consent agenda. Receive and file notification from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission on an application to transfer ownership of a 2024 SDM license for Wolverine Market Huron, located at 713 Huron Avenue. Approve the memorandum of agreement between the city and Sons to provide administrative assistance through the renovation process and to ensure compliance with the requirements of the Revitalization and Placemaking 2.0 program. Approving the appointment of Kathleen Koss to the Beautification Commission to fill a vacancy with a term to expire January 30th, 2027. Approve the development project agreement with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to receive grant funding in the amount of $250,000 under the 2023 Trust Fund Grant Program for the purpose of renovations to Sanborn Pool, tennis, pickle courts, parking lot, and trail connectors, as well as other related park amenities, and authorizing a $250,000 local match. Confirmed and approved single-lot special assessments for fines, assessments, and/or cost of removing blight, blighting factors, and/or causes of blight, as well as the abatement of nuisances. And we will move to, from the city manager, number 1, please.
Accepting the bid from Martin Construction of Port Huron LLC in the amount of $26,600 for the odor control building roof curb replacement at the wastewater treatment plant.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Mosherak, supported by Councilmember Lamb.
Madam Mayor and Council, there is a memo in your packet explaining the need for this. It's a relatively small project. We have to remove an air handling system in the odor control building. There's some damage around the curb that needs to be removed, about a 6-inch, 6-foot piece that needs to come out of there, fiberglass. That will be put back in, and then the fan will be reinstalled. But this contract is actually level up the roof with that new installation. We put it out for bid in 2023. It was such a small and odd job that we received no bidders, so we direct solicited Martin Construction, and kind of as a courtesy, he's willing to come and do it for us since we can't get anyone else to do it. There's about $345,000 budgeted for the maintenance of this facility. As you all know, we're getting a brand-new odor control system. This is the older system, but we still have to maintain it as we go. So we did put money in the budget to keep the old system going until we install the new one in the next 24 to 36 months.
Any questions for Mr. Freed?
And this is.
Yes, Councilmember
Mayor.
Ashford?
Yeah, and this is supposed, going to be split between all.
Yeah, correct. It'll be
Right.
appropriated throughout the townships as well.
Okay, and if we don't do this replacement, what is it?
The water seeping in will cause damage to other facilities.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any questions from anyone else? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harenza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 1 under resolutions, please.
Authorizing 26 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Who said the support? Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Lamb. Any questions on the payments? We'll take-
Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
were there a couple of cost changes?
Yeah, a couple of cost reductions. Those are just balances in the quantity, the balancing the quantity estimates. So whenever we do an engineer's projects, we estimate the quantities, and sometimes we come in, sometimes we come under, but we balance what was actually used versus the estimates of the bid.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Harenza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2.
Authorizing issuance of sewage disposal system revenue bonds.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. Would you like to give us a,
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, this is authorizing us to issue up to $7.685 million in sewer revenue-backed bonds at an interest rate not to exceed 6%. Of course, we don't anticipate having an interest rate anywhere near that. We're hopefully going to get interest rates somewhere between 3.5% and 4.5%, maybe 25 basis points based on the market in either direction. This will be one of 2 issuance because we're doing such large repairs at the facility. We wanted to bond it out in 2 different phases because we won't need a lot of the proceeds from the bonds for probably another 24 to 36 months. So there's no point in borrowing money you don't need and paying interest on it for 2 to 3 years. And also, we wanted to keep this bond amount under $10 million. There's some taxing reasons with the banks that make it a lot easier to sell the bonds and more lucrative to get better rates. So there's strategic nature in why we chose the number we did and the timing we did to help pay for the new odor control system and the major upgrades at the water and wastewater plant. And I just finished a bond call with Standard & Poor's, and we hopefully will have our sewer bond rating in the next couple of weeks. The sewer system has actually never had a bond rating before, unlike the water system and the general obligation bonds of the general fund.
any questions for Mr. Freed?
Yes, Mayor Rep.
Yes, Councilmember Ashford.
Yes, thank you. What are the repercussions? Will there be any on our citizens, our residents?
No, nope, this has all been factored into the budget, this has all been factored into the rate study. And in fact, we're able to handle this new bond payment because the reduction in sewer separation payments that are reducing, which allows us to maintain a more pay-as-we-go manner for normal day-to-day capital projects. So for the average citizens, your rates will not be skyrocketing for this in any way, it's already accounted for.
And plus the fact it's already high as it is, the sewage. on our bills.
Most definitely.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3, please.
Approving the 5-year agreement with Aspen LLC to provide administrative services and investment alternatives for the city's 457 deferred compensation and Roth IRA plans.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Ashford. And I assume we're going to have an explanation because she's right there at the podium. Hi,
Good
Renee.
evening, Mayor and Council. I am here tonight seeking approval to transfer the employee and retiree 457 and Roth IRA plans from our current professional firm to a new firm, and we would expect that to happen January 1st of 2025. This was not an easy decision. Our current firm, we have been in business with them for 32 years, so it's been a long time before I even came here. HR, though, has been approached by several union representatives and employees asking for us to explore other professional firms for these services. This has been happening for years, many union contracts. This comes up all the time. Employee feedback includes keeping the plans that they currently have, having better customer service that is also more accessible, financial advice, lower fees, and a diversified portfolio. The option to find another professional firm has never been explored until now in my 32 years, or in my 25 years, so since we went with them. Over the last 2 years in particular, customer service from the current firm has rapidly declined. So we've had several issues that were very crucial. And most of the issues have ultimately been resolved. We do still have a couple hanging out there. But a lot of times they're only resolved because either HR staff or finance staff gets involved, makes contact with the representatives, and then we see that issue through to the end. So those issues are also very lengthy. And then oftentimes the current firm is placing blame on the city, on the employee, or on the retiree. Most of the time that is not the case. It's not anything of our fault, but they like to place the blame there. So I am confident that we've had enough discussions and communicated clearly our concerns over the years. We've given our current firm ample opportunity to correct those issues going forward, and even up until today, we're still having issues. So they're just not correcting those issues, and they just seem to be happening all the time. As the HR director, I went to Mr. Freed, and with his support, we knew we couldn't ignore what the employees wanted any longer, and we also cannot ignore how our employees are being treated, as well as our retirees. So we can't continue to stay with a firm based solely on longevity. It's time to look for a new firm. So in June, I issued a public request for proposal for a 457 plan and Roth IRA provider with a deadline date of August 16th. On July 2nd, we held a Zoom meeting for anyone that was interested to participate to ask questions, and that was run by myself and then members of the finance department. We also accepted questions in writing by July 19th, which we answered and posted online on July 26th. All of that information was posted on the city's website as well as on Mitten, which is the Michigan Intergovernmental Trade Network, which is where a lot of bidding happens. We received 17 proposals by August 16th. That's a lot of proposals, yeah. From a variety of companies. Each of those 17 proposals were reviewed by finance and HR staff to start. So what were we looking for? Do they still offer a separate 457 and Roth IRA plan like we have now? Do they have similar experience to our current firm? How many other governmental 457 and Roth IRA plans do they manage, and what are the size of those assets? What is their fee structure? Do they have any extra fees that our employees are not paying now? Do they offer an investment diversity? What are their plans for participant education and communication? What is their level of accessibility for customer service? Do they offer financial guidance for the employees? And can they handle the administration, record keeping, and IRS compliance? So those were all the things that we were looking for as we went through these proposals. Frankly, most of those proposals either did not have a separate 457 and Roth IRA plan like we have now, or they had additional fees that we're just not willing to pass along to our employees. If they're not already paying those fees, we didn't want to take a step backwards with a firm that was going to charge extra fees. So we narrowed that down to 3 firms that we selected to make a presentation and be interviewed by a committee, which was comprised of management and union representatives from each collective bargaining group. And we did that on September 10th. After we had those 3 presentations, the committee met again, and it was unanimous to select the committee that we are recommending tonight in our proposal. Things that the committee liked with them versus some of the other companies that we had proposals from, or the ones that we even interviewed, was that they have a flat fee structure model instead of asset-based. They have representatives that are local right here in town that our employees can meet with anytime they would like, versus the 2 visits a year that we have right now from the company. And because they're only here twice a year, we're also limited on how many employees can actually see that representative. So other than that, you have to call a customer call center, and you don't know who you're gonna get or where they're actually located, or, you know, how good it is. They also like the idea of having representatives that can offer financial advice, because our current firm does not. They are hard and fast that they will tell you what is available, but they will not offer you any financial advice. Most of our employees, frankly, just are not up on that information enough to make those decisions. So I think our plans could be doing better if our employees had some financial guidance. We do have a representative here tonight from Aspen if you guys have any questions that I can't answer, since I'm not a financial person.
Does anyone have any questions for either the representative or Renee?
I would like to point out, I intentionally kept myself out of the process. And the reason for that is I wanted the employees to, this was an issue that the employees brought to us and retirees have brought to us. And I wanted them to feel comfortable with the firm that was going to be representing their money and their families. This is an intimate decision. And so I appreciate Renee putting together the committee. I requested that. But I did not take part in the deliberations or the selections. They just came to me afterwards and told me it was a unanimous decision to go with Aspen. I am pleased about the 2 local representatives that will be servicing our employees who really get that one-on-one. These folks work a lot with our current schools and teachers in the city and throughout the county. And the idea that if you have a question, they're willing to come to your house, sit at your kitchen table and talk to you and your spouse, that's huge. It's something we don't have now. And so I think it's plus keeping the contracts local, I think that means something as well.
Yeah, the whole team, the whole service team is all in Michigan, so we won't be talking to anybody out of state anymore.
Do they represent other people, other entities in the area?
They do. They actually have some contact with the school district right here in this area, and we did confirm that. Do you want to come up and speak to that?
You got to dance for your dinner in this town.
Hi, everyone. Ryan Hansinger, so Director of Operations for Aspen. So yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. So Matt and Nate are the 2 local advisors, and then you'll hear Craig Bastuba is kind of the senior partner advisor. I'm typically based in Rochester. That's kind of where our main service center is. And then Matt and Nate, as we mentioned, they're right down the street. They're right on Huron Avenue. in the old, was it Ardens, is that right? Yeah, the old Ardens building there, so. As far as representation, they are authorized to be in a lot of the schools, so that's the big chunk of their client base is dealing with local teachers. They also have contracts in the city of Croswell and some other local municipalities in this area. They both live here. They both, one was raised here his whole life, so I mean, they're very ingrained in this area. And one of the things that we mentioned, because we know the market, I mean, we're financial advisors, right? We know the world of financial advising, and the big players are always gonna be watching Mitten and watching these RFP proposals to try to just grow their book. That's what their goal is. For us, this is a very unique thing for us. We want to take this on because it is local and because we know we can have an impact with these folks. We're not just going to every city trying to get their plans. It's something where, because we have 2 advisors sitting down the street full-time plus their support staff, we know that we can support this properly and actually educate the participants and all of the employees of the plan, which at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for when you're putting these plans in place, is to educate the people, especially if they have an appetite for it. That's what's exciting to us. We have some other plans in 401ks or in local, like we have some local kind of more blue collar style private industry in this area as well. And you get a kind of a mix of people who are excited, but the feedback from the group has been they really want this education, which that's exciting for us, because that's when we know that we can have an impact. So, sorry, that was a little long-winded.
That's okay, no. No, that was very good. It does sound like it's going to be a whole lot better than what it was, and I obviously have experienced that here, so, yeah. 2 visits a year, yeah.
2 visits a year.
It's not
and
quite the.
Unfortunately, our employees have just lost complete faith in the current company, which I hate to say, but, so then, of course, they're not gonna come and meet with those people.
No. Absolutely. Any questions from, yes, go ahead, Councilmember.
Thank you
Major.
both, and Renee, thanks to you and your team for all the hard work on this. I'm just curious, do you have any reasoning, or did you research at all, what was why the major breakdown was with our current firm? Was there corporate changes, or what, where it seemed like it all came along real quickly?
Yeah, so they rebranded themselves
Okay.
a few years ago. And we did have some hiccups in the beginning, and we knew that we would. Anytime anybody does any type of merger or rebranding, you get a new system, of course you're gonna have some hiccups. The problem I'm having is 3 years later, they're still blaming, well, we had this conversion, and I'm like, well, you know, we did our own internal conversion in October of 2020, and we had some hiccups, but they've been resolved, and our employees didn't suffer because of that. So to also have our retirees or our employees suffering because you had a conversion, I'm having a hard time with that. And we're having problems where it could be 4 months to get an issue resolved. And I mean major issues, like we had a widow that couldn't get her money for 4 months. And I have a problem with that. And then they placed the blame on the widow after the issue was resolved, because I just hounded them for 2 days straight. They came back and admitted, oh no, you know what, it wasn't her fault, we did have all the information we needed. So no, this poor woman lost her husband unexpectedly and then had to wait 4 months to get her funds, so that's not okay with me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yes,
Councilmember
Mayor.
Rushford.
Yeah, you mentioned, you know, it was, what, the past 2 years or 3 years?
So I'm tracking the last 2.
Oh, okay.
I started with an issue that started in October of 22.
Okay.
Given the fact that the employees were reaching out to us before that, I gotta believe there were issues, but I think that's when people really started coming to us and saying, I need you to help me fix this.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay,
Sorry.
so that was your tipping point? It's like, I've had enough, and you want to move forward?
Yeah, and then we had some conversations with the company directly where I had expressed some concerns, and at that point, their thing was, well, if you decide to leave or put out an RFP, come to us first and we'll see if we can get your employees better pricing. And I said, well, why do I have to threaten to leave to get my employees better pricing? You should just offer it. We've been with you 32 years. So they did come back with a proposal ultimately, which, I mean, we were kind of done at that point, but I also didn't feel like it was enough, and then they wanted another 5-year exclusive agreement, and I just couldn't agree to that.
Okay.
So we decided to, and we did interview them. They had the chance to put in a proposal. They were one of the firms that we interviewed. And even in that interview, we had a member of our panel that was still currently having an issue, and they just couldn't fix it. And
Well, it sounds like, first I was kind of leery as to how this came about, and why now, but I think you have made the case. The case was already made in terms of your non-compliance or incorrigibility to agree with one another. And what's most impacting is that you said you all were at the table.
yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and that
we
is
had
where,
a committee of about 10 people.
yeah,
A union representative from all 6 unions, and then we also had some management.
right, and they have every right to say who they want to be represented by. So, yeah, I think that was good. Thank you.
Any
Mayor,
other, yes.
Is there a set contract or a timeframe with this? Or is it
So
something we
we-
can come and go anytime we want to?
Gary Fletcher did recommend that we do a 5-year.
So it's a 5-year
the
contract?
contract that we have presented to you is a 5-year contract, yes.
And is there a clause, an out clause, so to speak, for lack of performance? Or if you're not happy in year 2 or after the transition, are we stuck for that 5 years?
No, we're not stuck. I mean, there is an out clause, but there's also the way this company is structured. It's structured almost like a triangle. There's 3 different pieces that handle different things. If we're not happy with one of those pieces, staying under the contract with the company, we can just get rid of one of those pieces and replace it. So we have a lot more flexibility, where with the current firm, everything was under one umbrella. So you either stayed with the firm or you left.
Okay, I don't know if you can answer this, but is there a standard, an industry standard of how many customers a particular person can handle before there's a lag in getting back with them? And, since there's only 2 that are local?
Yeah, no, and with the 2 that are local, I'm speaking specifically to the advisors themselves. So they also have a support staff of 4, plus in Rochester, we have another lead advisor, plus a support staff of 5, and that's just local. We also have the ability in Farmington Hills, we have another partnership office. We don't typically bring them in, but if we had to, our firm just in the Southeast Michigan area has over 40 people. So I mean, I don't see any challenges, and that's just the financial advising firm. We also have the record keeper, the TPA, who we work with, and they actually have all of the, legal capabilities to handle the technology and all of that. So from a broad perspective, I mean, we're talking like a census where the technology is like a 10,000 person company. So we contract through them because we feel like their technology is efficient and very, very user-friendly, which is what's most important, so that people can actually use the tools, access their information really easily. But at the end of the day, like Renee mentioned, the reason we like this structure is because if any of us ever get on a line where the technology isn't working or the TPA, for whatever reason, is not doing their job, we can always replace pieces without having to go through a full transition, where Mission Square, at the time, they're just one entity, and so you can't pick and choose who you work with. So while it gives some risk on our end, we actually like that. It holds us accountable, and it also gives you the opportunity to have some control and to feel confident in making a decision to make a move, because it is a huge decision. And to Renee's credit, the committee that they put together, I thought was very engaging. I mean, every person, or at least every group, asked questions, had feedback, and honestly, we didn't go in necessarily expecting that. We presented before, and it's kind of just the usual song and dance, but it was really nice to have that interaction and understand what the needs of each of the different unions are, as opposed to, just dealing with people who are maybe just administrative, which is usually where we end up speaking with. So it was definitely a thorough process, so I would commend them for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Mayor, I would point out, I spoke with several of the city managers who have also left Mission Square, including the city of Auburn Hills left last year for the exact same reasons. So we are not alone across the state. People are choosing to pick a different firm, different municipalities are. I will say, just to point out, in 2014, when I interviewed for this mayor and council, I asked them what's one of the major issues they believe the city is going to face. And the mayor and council told me at the time one of the biggest issues they see on the horizon is the replacement of senior department heads who are all going to retire. I have replaced, I believe, almost every single department head. and Renee is one of those replacements, and I'd like to think I did a dang good job of picking a new HR director. She's done amazing work. These are two major issues that she's handled on the job in the last year, and I think she's just doing a terrific job, so thank you, Renee.
We think so, too.
You make my decisions look good.
Thank you. Great job and very thorough on all of this, so thank you.
Thank you.
And we will take the vote.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rett?
Yes, that concludes our agenda. Announcements, the annual Cops and Jocks Spaghetti Dinner will be held Tuesday, October the 29th at the Ballroom at City Flats Hotel, new location this year. So make sure you go. It's a great fundraiser for the Capture Fund, so put that on your calendars. Is there anything else to come before the council this evening? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Madam Chair.
Meeting adjourned.